This week's episode of Resilience Unscripted is sponsored by PK Law Group.
Welcome back to episode 16. We're here with Tim Hattis. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you for having
taking
me.
the hour drive down here.
No problem.
Where do you want to begin? Introduce yourself first.
Tim Hattis, like you said. It's a little bit about me, just a person in recovery. You know what I mean? I'm a normal guy. Go to work, take care of my daughter. Just kind of like in the crowd of society. You know, I'm not like out here. I'm not like a treatment center owner. I'm not like a sober house owner. I'm not like an influencer. I'm not anything like that. But I'm just a normal guy who's gone through some trials and tribulations due to my addiction in the past. Someone who spent years of his upbringing, his adolescence, and his 20s, just like in and out of the revolving door in the cycle of just like treatment centers, jails, and homelessness. And today I'm sitting here. I'm a man in recovery, like I just touched on. I'm a father, and I'm like a normal person in society, like the normal person you see driving in traffic every day.
I like that. Yeah. So let's start with, when did you first get into recovery?
When did I first get into recovery for real, or when did I first get introduced into recovery?
When did you, let me rephrase this. Yeah. When did you get introduced to recovery? When was your first attempt in recovery?
So my first real, I don't know if you want to call it an attempt, but my first real introduction, I was like 17 years old, addicted to opiates, Oxycontin, all those type of things. And, obviously with that, you get physically dependent. You have withdrawals if you don't have them. And, I was at a point where like I had to check into a detox. It was definitely a problem. It was an everyday thing. And like I knew I needed to stop. I didn't know how. And I just kind of remember just from being in that lifestyle, just being around older kids and them like talking about detox. So, I checked into my first detox at 17 years old. And that was like my first real, I guess you could say, introduction to like recovery and detoxes and stuff like that. Like that particular facility I was at, they had like an on-site 12-step meeting that would come in on Saturday mornings. So that was like my real first introduction to like 12-step recovery. But I didn't really do much with it. Like I heard the information and I could kind of like, I like believe what these people were saying, but it wasn't like, I wasn't at that point where I was like willing to make all those changes. Like I left that detox and, I was like, oh, I'm just not going to do OCs anymore. I'm just going to smoke weed and I'm just going to drink and I'm just going to like put those harder substances down.
How did that work out for you?
Yeah, it didn't work out, it's all one and the same. I mean, I truly believe like all substances, like, it's different substances like covering up the same symptoms. Like the disease of addiction is all the same. It's not about a specific substance, but it didn't work out. It worked for a little bit until I was right back doing the same stuff. And that's really like the story, that was at 17 years old, and from 17 to 28 years old, it was just like a lot of in and out. I'd put runs together of like getting high, like 6 months, year-long runs. I would check in the detox. I would, maybe take some of the suggestions they would give me. Not take any of the suggestions they would give me, but like long story short, I would never be able to get over that like 30, 60, 90 days, 6 month hump of like staying clean. Like I could get clean, but I couldn't stay clean, So then, like, fast forward down the line, like, for me, like, my real recovery process probably started when I was, like, 28.
Okay, so where did you grow up?
Where did I grow up? Arlington, Massachusetts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where did you hang out?
Honestly, Arlington, everywhere. I mean, Arlington in my earlier years, as my like, addiction, like, progressed, getting kicked out of the house, having, like, nowhere to go, just kind of turning to, like, the street life, like, towards the end of my addiction, just homeless, like downtown Boston and like on the streets, like those areas.
Because Arlington's a pretty quiet community, isn't it?
Arlington's a nice town. Definitely like upper middle class, but what I will say is like the era I grew up in, I don't know how it is now, but like there's a lot of money there. So if there's a lot of money, there's a lot of people, like, and there's kids, like there's money for drugs, So we had a bunch of kids, myself included, like, like, just because it's a nice town doesn't mean there's not stuff going on behind the scenes.
That's like Winter, beautiful $1 million houses.
No, we were in there. We were in the game a little bit.
Yeah,
we were getting it in. Yeah.
So, did you end up getting clean in New Hampshire?
This time, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when did you move to New Hampshire?
About 4 years ago. I don't even know if I want to say I moved there. I really had no other choice, like completing a treatment center. Like I had a scholarship to go on to further treatment,
Yeah.
and that's just kind of where like life took me, you know.
So you had no intentions of going to New Hampshire.
I don't know what I had intentions of doing. I just knew if I left the treatment center I was in that had offered me this continuing care that I was going to go back to living into my car and probably getting high. And like if I wanted to have any choice of, recovery or just anywhere to go realistically, like I just kind of had to go there.
Right.
I look back at it now, like I truly believe like that was God working in my life and doing for me like what I couldn't do for myself.
Yeah.
Like I don't think I wound up in New Hampshire by accident. And when I look back, like 2020 hindsight vision, like it was part of the plan. I think I wound up exactly where I was supposed to be.
Okay. So how long did you go through the continuum of care with that program? How long did you live in
So that
sober living?
yeah, so that first place that I was at, that was just like a typical 30-day PHP type program. I completed that, and then I moved on, to the continuing place, and I was probably there for about, I don't know, I want to say like 2, 3 months maybe. Like my circumstances were a little different. I say that because like the my daughter's mother like had gotten pregnant, so like I was living in in that sober house or whatever. But like we made the decision to move in together, so that stay got cut a little short. Um, but like during that time when I was there, like I was doing things outside of there, like going to meetings, getting involved like in like 12-step recovery, therapy, things like that.
What
So.
is your pathway of
What's
recovery?
my pathway of recovery? I mean, I believe in the 12-step modality of recovery. That's me.
That's you.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't think it's the only way, but like for me, that's where
That's workable for you.
yeah, like I found like the most success through that, and I do want to say like on top of that, like yeah, I truly believe in the 12-step modality. Like I believe in the 12 steps. I believe in like meeting attendance,
Mhm.
things of that nature. But I also believe too like there's other things that I can add on top of that. You know what I mean? Like I've attended therapy through my recovery. Like the gym is a big part of my
Yeah.
recovery. Really just trying to like change my behaviors and my patterns of thinking because like those are the things that really get me caught up because now it's like if I'm sitting here right now 3.5 years clean, like I don't have a drug problem anymore. I'm not addicted to drugs right
Right.
now, but I have a behavior problem. I have a thinking pattern problem. Like I have an obsession and compulsive brain that like has me do shit that like if I don't take care of it will lead me back to getting high.
Right.
But like overall, it's based on a 12-step recovery. Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah, yeah.
Gotcha. Do you think family aspect plays a big role in it?
I mean, in what kind of way? For me personally,
Yeah.
I mean, I come from a good family. There wasn't really like addiction growing up in my household. I grew up in a household where my dad worked, my mom was at home, raising me and my brother, but none of them were ever like addicted to drugs or anything. And what I will say is like me and my brother like grew up in the same exact environment, right? Same house, same mom, same dad. We had the same opportunities presented to us, and like I know he's tried at least like marijuana, and obviously I have too, but I just truly believe like I was born like predispositioned with like an addictive gene.
Some
What I
people
will
feel
say is
that
like
way.
I'm also adopted, so
Are
I don't.
you?
Yeah, so like I don't know like all the aspects of my actual, like my biological family, but I would, there's probably some addiction in
Can
there.
we talk about that?
Yeah, we can talk about whatever.
What age were you adopted?
Uh, right away, right away. I was adopted when I was like 2 weeks old. Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
I
yeah,
love
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
So, do you know anything about your biological parents?
I do actually. Yeah, so it's crazy. Probably
Because a lot of kids don't, and I
yeah.
like when I hear like,
Yeah, so I went like most of my whole life without knowing anything of like who my mom was, who my dad was, anything about like my family. I had some very basic information, like I had my mom's first name and I knew I had a sister, and that was all I had probably until I was like 28 years old. And this is honestly like one of the coolest things that's happened to me in my life. A friend of mine had gotten me one of those DNA test things,
yeah,
the 23andMe's,
yep,
because she wanted to know what my ethnicity was or whatever, and I could never give an answer. I was just like, I'm adopted. I don't know. So whatever. Long story short, I took that test, and if you have a relative who's also taking it, you match. So when
right,
I got the results back, it had my biological grandfather's name on the app, and it was, it said his name, and it was like 25% DNA match. Like this is your biological grandfather. So that was probably about like 5, 6 years ago, and I had reached out to him, and Yeah, like I've had a relationship with him ever since.
Oh, I love
Like, yeah, like
that.
I met my biological mom for the first time probably.
Are they
at
local?
28. No, they live in New Jersey.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where I was born in New Jersey. But
You give New Jersey vibes just a
I don't
little
know
bit.
if that's a compliment or
That is a
so,
compliment. Well, for me, it's a
no,
compliment.
I
Okay?
appreciate it. I
Because I get told
appreciate
I
it.
sound like I'm from New
Yeah,
York.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
but like
Yeah,
just the style and like how
yeah,
you
yeah,
talk and your
yeah.
demeanor, like I
Hey,
get a little bit of a vibe of like
all
New
right, little
Jersey.
Jersey Shore. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, no. So I met my mom for the first time, my biological mother for the first time at
I love
28
that.
years old. Yeah, it was probably like one of the best days of my life. Yeah, it was cool.
So the adoptive family that you have, your
Yes,
brother had lived a total different lifestyle than you did.
correct.
What about your parents?
Yeah, no, they like I said, like my dad was he was a professor at a college in Worcester. He
Wow.
he taught some classes around here. Like he's just like a normal like citizen type guy. Like he's never really dealt with the things that like you know people like myself like go through.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's only dealt with that like through me, like as far as like programs and jails and just like seeing
And that is
someone
hard-
addicted
that's
to
hard on
drugs.
them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he really knew how to deal with me, which I don't hold him responsible for. You know what I mean? But he did his best, and you know he unconditionally loved me no matter what place I was in. Some of it was probably, or a lot of it was probably like actually detrimental. It was probably a lot of enabling, but he did the best with the information he had.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's a lot for someone to raise someone else's child.
Yeah.
And
Oh no, he's the same.
And they are
Yeah,
amazing people for taking you in,
Definitely.
right, and giving you
Yeah.
a life that
Definitely.
you don't know where you could have ended up, right? So you got like the best upbringing possible,
Yeah, definitely.
and we're all responsible for the choices that we make in life.
Yeah.
And I feel like you obviously lived a different lifestyle than your brother, but you opened up their eyes to things that maybe they wouldn't have understood if it was someone else's child.
No, definitely.
So with
Yeah.
you, obviously, when it's your own child, it's a little different.
Right.
So
Right.
they were able to like see it through their eyes, through your eyes, and see like this is my son and this is what he's going through.
Yeah.
A lot of parents, at least the people that I've spoken to, when they see other people's children going through it, it's like, well, what the hell or what the fuck is that about? Like, you know, they're not as receptive or understanding. So the fact alone that they took you in, gave you this beautiful life, and then unfortunately you went through the struggle of addiction, and they were able to stick by you is huge.
No,
That's
definitely,
really huge.
Definitely. No, I'll always love them and appreciate them for that.
That's awesome,
Yeah,
though.
definitely.
So we go to New Hampshire.
Yeah.
By we, I mean you.
Yeah, right.
You move to New Hampshire.
Yeah.
You stay up there. How old is your daughter?
How old's my daughter? She'll
Yeah.
be 3 in January.
Okay. So
Yeah.
that is right when you really started taking your recovery seriously.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was probably about like 5 months clean when I found out like her mother was pregnant with her, and I had like a quick little relapse, and then I finally got clean this time. I mean, I think she was like 2 months.
She was the saving grace.
She was like 2 months pregnant, yeah. And I always tell this story like when I speak, like or when I tell my story, whatever. I just remember like that last time sitting in detox or whatever, and having like the sonogram or the picture of her, and just like really just like taking a look at for what the situation was, and just like realizing that I had an opportunity to be there for my daughter to not know me as like a lot of people had known me in my life up until that point, which was like a drug addicted, like program all-star, like loser, you know what I mean? And that's kind of a harsh word, but that's how I talk to myself, you know what I mean? And I gotta keep it real.
We're all pretty harsh on ourselves.
Yeah, but I also do gotta keep it real with myself, because the way I was living, like what I've come to find through like recovery is like, yeah, it's a byproduct of like doing drugs and stuff like that, but like what I was doing and how I was living, like I don't find that to be like acceptable behavior anymore. You know what I mean?
So she saved you.
I mean, yeah.
She did.
Yeah, I mean,
you saved you, but
yeah,
she
yeah.
was the reason.
No, I mean, she definitely plays a big part into it. I believe, like, yeah, she definitely played a big
I see
part
all the
into me
posts you
getting
put up
clean.
with
Yeah,
her,
no,
like,
I love my daughter.
you can
Yeah,
tell
no, she's
you're a
the
good
best.
dad.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. And I don't know. I just truly believe like God had a different plan for my life than like I might have had for myself at times.
Yeah.
You know, and part of that is like me coming on here to speak with you today. Like, if I can come on here and I mentioned this to you before, like if I can come on here and someone listens to this and they just like have a little bit of hope that like, damn, maybe I've been in the same position this kid has been in, and like
Yeah.
I can stay clean and have a life worth living, then like I'm fulfilling my purpose as someone in
Absolutely.
recovery. You know.
If it hits one person's ears and they resonate with
Yeah,
it,
that's it.
then we save one person.
No, the primary purpose is carry the message to the addict who still suffers. So, like, if you're presenting me with that platform, I'm doing my duty, you know?
Yeah.
So I appreciate you having me.
So, what do you do for work?
What do I do for work? During the day, Monday through Friday, I work for a general contractor. Depending
like
on the
that?
day, I wear a bunch of different hats. But I guess if you want to go by what the paperwork says, it says like I'm a labor foreman.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you like it?
It has its perks, you know, like financially, things like that is cool. I like the people I work with. We have fun working together.
Good.
I like that I get out of work at a decent time. You know what I mean? Like if I'm living in my complete honest truth, like I don't feel like it's necessarily like my purpose on earth. But it works for the time being, and you know I'm grateful to be able to have like that opportunity to do that. I also facilitate groups at a treatment center, like per diem. I do it like every other Thursday. I started doing that about 2 months ago.
Where's the center located?
Andover.
Okay.
Andover,
Awesome.
yeah. And that's dope. I love that. Like I leave there after working all day at like 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, and I got my music bumping, like I'm fired up because, you know, it comes down
You're giving back.
I'm giving back and I'm connecting with these people, and it's funny because, you know, a lot of like the clients there, I'm kind of more old, you know, older professionals, you know what I'm saying? Like they don't necessarily look like me, you know what I mean? In the sense of like younger, tattooed, like things like that. But, you know, when I go in there and I talk about like real stuff that like addicts and alcoholics go through and the feelings that like we use to suppress, like I know I'm like hitting, I can feel it. You can't deny like connection, you know, when you feel it. So I know when I leave there, like I'm doing something good. Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, it's dope. I like it.
How long have you been doing that for?
Just about 2 months now.
That's
You know,
awesome.
yeah. One of my previous times, in recovery, I worked at one of the halfway houses around the way, just doing some like part-time weekend work too. So, you know, those addicts and people in recovery or addicts using, like those are my people. Like they are me, I am them. So I just like that.
Yeah.
You know, I do it for free. You know what I mean?
You heard him.
I do it for free.
You need help, hit him up.
I do it for free. You know, it's part of what we do.
It's giving back and it's teaching somebody something that you learned
Yeah.
that could become a valuable piece of advice that they can apply to their life.
Definitely.
So I think that's really great that you're doing that.
No, definitely, and I've been blessed throughout my process that like there's been so many people that we could spend an hour just naming off all the different people in my path in my life who have just like affected me on such like a personal deep level, who carried me through times where I wasn't able to carry myself. So if I like wasn't willing to do that, I'd kind of be like an asshole.
Who was your biggest influence?
My biggest influence?
Yeah.
It just that I don't know. Honestly, probably my boy Mike. Yeah, I met my boy Mike in the Meridian House probably like 15 years ago or whatever. He's stayed sober since then.
Awesome.
He's seen me in all shapes, forms, situations, like places, and he's never really switched up on me. And you know, when I think of someone who I want to mimic and who I want my recovery to look like, he's definitely the one who's been there the longest. And I've learned a lot just from watching him and how he interacts, like, you know, with his son, how he interacts with newcomers, how he interacts with just his family, things like that. Like he's been a good example of somebody who I try to follow. So shout out Mike. Love him, bro.
Shout out, Mike.
Let's go. I won't put his name up.
I'm like, all right, Mike.
He knows who he is.
He knows who he is.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's see. We went through your childhood. We went through your work. Would you ever consider working full time in recovery?
I mean, it's definitely something I've thought about. Yeah, I mean, the short answer is yes. You know, there's definitely like I definitely have fears around leaving my job now because like I mentioned, like financially,
You're used to it.
It works.
Now.
It's comfortable. I'm used to it. But I also like I'm a big believer that like God has a plan. Like God's gonna do for me like things I can't always do for myself. And you know, as long as I keep showing up and doing my best to like live in His will, like the opportunity is gonna present itself and realistically, like I'm gonna wind up exactly where I need to be at the right time, regardless.
Are you more religious or are you more spiritual?
I'm more spiritual.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. I believe there's God, but I don't follow a religion.
Yeah, I don't follow a specific religion, but I do believe in God.
Right.
I've taken my concept of God comes from all the different religions and then my own twist on it. Yeah, I think all you know, any relationship with God is probably positive. Probably.
All right. I like that.
Yeah.
Tim.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this a little differently.
All right, what's up?
Do you have any questions? Because we don't have a live audience this week. They're kind of in the kitchen, like listening from over there. Hi, live audience.
Let's see. I didn't have much time to prep for this, but what would you say is your best way to stay in keep recovery going and stay on the straight and narrow?
How do you keep like fluid in your recovery? You know what I mean? Like, how do you stay?
So my sponsor early on really just preached to me like consistency and discipline. So I feel like in those formative days of early recovery, like the 30, 60, 90 days is really just creating like those positive habits as far as like going to meetings, getting vulnerable, raising my hands, like all those things that I just repetitively did early on, just kind of became second nature to me. So it's just a lot easier to stay consistent and disciplined, like as time went on. Like it's just become part of like who I am. And just like staying in touch with like the reality of like I truly believe for someone like myself, like staying clean for me is a matter of like life or death. It's a matter of like me being a dad or not being a dad.
Right.
It's a matter of me like living at home or living on Mass Ave. Like I'm not confused about that, and I keep that up front. And when I'm like, now that I've been clean, I have that choice, right? I have a choice now that I'm no longer like powerless over drugs, right? I have a choice. It's like, all right, I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna choose recovery. I'm gonna wake up and I'm just gonna repeat the same things that I did for years that got me nowhere, you know? And that's the power of it. Like we get the power back when we get clean. We're no longer controlled by drugs. So
What would you tell a newcomer
what would I tell a newcomer?
who wants to leave?
Who wants to leave?
Yeah.
I mean,
like, let's say you're running a group and you're a newcomer that's like, I'm out. I can't stand this. I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
What would you say?
It's tough because in a professional setting you have to be professional and you can't always like speak your mind. I truly believe like you can't deny someone their pain. Like everyone has to have their pain and everyone has to have their process. Like I can't save an addict. I can only carry the message. I can't carry an addict. But what I would say is like just be honest. Like is that really what you want to do? Like you don't have to do it. Like what I've come to realize is how I've never consistently felt the same way the whole time I've been clean. So whatever you're going through right now is gonna pass. Like with every like valley, there's gonna be a peak. But like the secret is just like holding on through the valleys and just allowing like the process to play out. But then on the same point, like addiction's tough, man. Like you can't. At some point, like when you're talking to the disease, it's like I'd probably get more out of talking to the wall. You know what I mean? You can't talk to the disease. Like once the disease has made up its mind, like it's very, very hard to really break through to that, At least in my experience. You know what I mean? So but as far as like a newcomer who like didn't want to leave and like wanted to stay clean and was kind of like lost and new in like the process of recovery, like I would strongly suggest like go check out like as many like meetings as you can. I would suggest them to get around people with like more time than you. You know what I mean? I would strongly suggest like I mentioned, like getting vulnerable early on, doing those uncomfortable things. Focus more on like saving your ass and not your face, and
that's a good one.
Yeah.
He takes notes for like the reels that we made.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
I was a victim.
Save your ass and don't save your face.
I was a victim of I don't even want to say I was a victim, but I did that for a long time. I would save my face and not my ass. You know what I mean? Like if for someone who's new in recovery, if you're sitting there like fucked up, feeling like hopeless, feeling like a loser, feeling like you're not going to amount to nothing, you're probably right where you need to be, and use that as motivation and fuel to like make a change. I would say something along the line.
What's your take on medicated assisted treatment?
That's a tough subject. For me, I mean, I've never had success with it. It's definitely like saved me and carried me through times of my recovery where I wasn't like fully ready to like surrender to other pathways. I mean, it can definitely have its benefits, like if, but like for me personally in my recovery, I believe in like complete abstinence. Yeah.
And that's the old school way.
Yeah. It's
That is
funny.
the
I
old
joke
school
around with
way.
my friends now. Like a lot of these places nowadays, like they'll drive you into a treatment center on a Tempur-Pedic bed with a T-bone steak. And back in the day, it was like get a bus pass, get a Charlie card, and go take the train like 2 hours to a meeting and get back by 10. You know what I mean? And like I'm glad I kind of came up in that time. Did I get clean back then? No, but like that stuff that.
That's the way it was.
That's how it was. It was, and that wasn't even too long ago. That was, the first, real like halfway I was in was probably like 15 years ago.
We got treatment centers that look like 5-star resorts now.
I know.
That's the crazy part.
Yeah. No, it's a tough situation, but all I can really do is just, make a difference how I can make a difference. You know what I mean? I'm not powerful enough. I'm not going to change the treatment center game, and that's not to say there are treatment centers who are doing a bunch of good things too. There's a bunch of good people who work there. And so I'm not gonna...
Say hit or miss.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it really comes down to, it's like, you can get clean anywhere. You can literally get clean. I got one of my best friends who got clean in a homeless shelter. So, it really just comes down to like the individual and what they're willing to put in. You'll get out what you put in with anything in life. Doesn't matter where you are.
What's your 5-year plan?
Like staying clean's obviously like number one on that list. Just being there for my daughter as best as I can. I want to maybe try to transition out of what I do for work now. I have some like financial goals and stuff like that, which is like,
same.
Yeah, it's like, which is cool. It's whatever. But like, honestly, like I really just want to like stay on a path where like I'm cool with myself and I'm comfortable with myself. And I just have like an internal peace around me. Cause I've been able to like obtain that like a little bit like a little bit I have that. So if I can continue to like grow that and just like live in that of like, I don't know, serenity and just like focus on that, like I'll be happy and really just come down to just trust, like I just trust in the process the whole way. Like it's laid out for me. I just got to show up,
Would you ever go back to school to further your education to work in the field?
I've thought about it. I mean, there's days at work I think about it, but it's definitely not off the table.
I also feel like you're so used to working in construction too. That like,
no, it's like I do it on I do it on autopilot now. I do it on autopilot. So, but we'll see. Yeah, I mean, I just got to keep showing up. And there's a plan.
That's all you can do.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you have anything you want to add for advice to somebody that's struggling, that may need guidance from someone at your age, like somebody, let's say this was somebody like our age, right? Because we're considered young.
Yeah.
And they needed advice and they needed it from somebody our age. Not somebody that's 60, 70, that's been in this game for a long time.
Yeah.
What would you tell them?
I mean, I would tell them to just start listening to people who know more than you. Listen to people who have been around longer. Just try to surrender to the process, like as much as you can. Like let go of trying to control the outcome of things, and it really depends. If it's someone with like one day clean, I would just tell them to stay put and like don't use no matter what. You know what I mean? Someone who's struggling with like, I don't know, like I would try to like instill hope into them. I would try to be like, you can really change your life around here. Like people in recovery really come from nothing and make their lives into something, and that I believe in them, that they're worth it.
There's a lot of success stories out there.
Yeah, definitely. Like I know for me, like when I was in those situations for a long time, like I always struggled with like low self-worth, low confidence, like no self-respect. I really didn't even believe I deserved recovery in the first place. So I always try to like make sure like a newcomer or anybody who's struggling knows that like they're worthy of recovery. Everybody's worthy of recovery, and everybody's capable of recovery too. And like the lie is like, our brain tells us like we can't do it, but like anybody can get clean and stay clean. Yeah, a day. If you can stay clean for one day, you can stay clean for 2 days.
That's right.
And then it's dominoes.
So like a snowball effect.
Yeah, and I would just tell them I believe in them and just do their best to like stay put and take suggestions along the way. I mean, that's what's worked. That's like what's worked for me. Anything I've really done for my recovery, like I've put twists on it, but a lot of it really just came from like listening to the people who came in front of me. And once I got to the point where like that just clicked, it was just it was like mind blown. The same thing people have been telling me for years that I didn't do, like once I started doing it, it worked. Like who would have thought?
we kind of look down at people who tell us to take direction of things, and we don't like to take direction.
No, definitely.
But at the end of the day,
yeah,
they're telling us for a reason.
No, definitely. And it takes a level of humility to like listen to like a grown man or someone. Even like I've listened to people younger than me in recovery. You know what I mean? Like we all have something to offer each other, but it takes a level of humility, and that's like the ideal state that like I try to go through this process in, and that like I believe like people should try to stay humble, stay in humility, and just stay willing.
You got to be humble.
Yeah, no,
you
definitely.
Can't go into it cocky.
No, definitely, because the disease will fuck you up. I can remember prior to this time having like just short of 2 years clean and like riding the wave of like I'm like smashing all these external goals. I got a good job now, my license back, like I'm in the gym, I'm feeling good, like I'm getting attention from women, like things like that, but really like suffering on the inside internally, right? And like being like so like such at a point where I'm like I can't let someone know I'm hurting, and finally getting to the point that I'm like, yo, I'm either gonna kill myself or I'm gonna get high.
Yeah.
And I did choose to get high, but what I've come to like realize and find out is like now having that experience, like I don't care. Like if I'm hurting, I'll let you know I'm hurting. Like I have plenty of friends who have listened to me bitch for like multiple you know what I mean, just trying to stay humble and just realizing that like I'm never too well and I'm not good enough to like ask for help, you know what I mean?
Nobody's above asking.
No people, like we all need help, we all need like outside support.
And if the world could just be a little bit more kinder to people who are struggling with drugs or mental health,
definitely
I think that could be a little better place than what we already are.
No, definitely yeah.
Thank you for driving and coming down for today.
Yeah, no, of course. Hopefully somebody got something out of it.
I hope so. And I think what the message that you brought today is you're never too young to start your recovery.
Yeah.
You can move, you can take it wherever you want to go, and you have to put the work in. It doesn't matter where you stay or where you're at.
No,
and
definitely.
I think that's huge because a lot of people make it a geographical and it's not.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not.
You gotta put
you bring yourself wherever you go, so.
Exactly. This wraps up episode 16. Bye.